pushes off the map. There is enough as is. Let's go into this one.
Yeah, we'll see if IG decide to go for it, as once again, Vici Gaming with side priority elect to choose into blue side. There is no Ivern ban, as it's Graves, Camille, and Lulu. The same bans 3 games in a row. Vici Gaming have already shown us a quick adaptation by bringing in that Jace ban in substitution for that Gragas. Much lackluster performance after game number 2. But Invictus Gaming insta-lock Caitlyn.
I see you only play one champion. Well, let's see what else you have. That was rude. So again, like you said, the priority pick for IG these 3 games have been Jace. Jace is now banned. They then went towards Gragas. That didn't work out, and they now take away the Caitlyn.
I feel like, Long is like, all right, I'll just pick the exact same thing. You'll pick Caitlyn, I take Karma? Yeah? Oh, wait, there is no Caitlyn. But Karma's still great. And now with Elise for Bangi paired with it, Vici could be looking for a bit of a pick comp.
But you think that Vici at this point would be looking for the Ashe, especially because she fits so well into that pick composition. It's also a big comfort pick for Endless. It suits really well in that Ashe Karma still a ridiculous pushing lane. I'd hate to think that anything could actually outpush them, especially Nami and Caitlyn, although we'll keep our eyes on the bottom lane. But I'm like 100% certain that it's going to be an Ashe lock-in. Yeah. Maybe Jhin. I guess he could kind of fit the same scenario, but I just see Endless as more of an Ashe player.
Deadly Flourish, long-range sort of pick to get some initial harass. But then you have to have someone to do that initial burst of damage so that Jhin can follow up, whereas the Ashe arrow is just point and click, lock them, well, skill shot point and click. And what better way to deal with an low mobility AD carry like Ashe or Jhin than a lot of damage coming out from Syndra.
It also makes it a bit scarier to pick Jhin in this instance because the Nami is already there. We've seen Nami open up as kind of a soft counter to Jhin.
Yeah, Tidal Wave.
Exactly, in a very similar way that Bard was. You know, he dunks on him from backstage.
But in answer, looks like that Ashe is going to be the pickup from Endless. We've seen him take it before.
Ba-da-da-da. Nailed it.
It's almost like you know what you're doing. So, how do we move this forward? What is the next steps for Vici Gaming? They've got good pick. They've got long range engage. Is it tanks? Is it Rumble?
I think it's you target out Duke, whereas IG are going to target out Easy Hoon. Now, because Vici had the first ban and they see it's a top laner, instead of going Easy Hoon, they're also going to start thinning out that pool. So I actually like the split-second adaptation, especially because Rookie has such a powerful champion like Syndra. I want to see Easy Hoon kind of go toe-to-toe with the assassin pick. He's not the type of player that's going to, lock in the Zed and be like,
or Talon or something.
Exactly. I'll see who bursts out who first. You'd assume that he's going to go Orianna here.
Yeah, Orianna, Barrier, or Cleanse to try dealing with that. Kled is actually the ban out towards Long. So Duke perhaps respecting that champion pick in this game number 3, as Victor is the final ban away from Easy Hoon. So we'll see what he decides to go towards. He has the opportunity to save counterpick for Long here.
Vladimir also is available here. You could pick it quite safely here. It eats up and counters out a lot of what Syndra offers. Easy Hoon is a very competent and confident Vladimir player.
He hasn't played it. He hasn't played it once this split.
Because it's normally banned away from him. I'm actually shocked if he goes Orianna here. I know that we mentioned it earlier, but Easy Hoon was one of the first guys in the LPL last split that brought Vladimir out. Yes!
Swaps it over at the last second. First time that he's taken Vladimir here in 2017. Not even going to go to that Lissandra instead. Very strong enabler to follow up with his team.
Again, last year when Vladimir started kind of making the rounds, suddenly Vici were just eating Vladimir bans. Like, we had never seen it played in the LPL yet. It was kind of just before the cusp, and suddenly Easy Who never gets to play the champion. You check his solo queue, it's just spammed Vladimir.
Just all Vlad, yeah.
So he's an exciting player to watch on the champion. And again, it has really great matchups into Syndra.
Yeah, and now to sort of answer that, you've got the very high mobility jungler on Lee Sin for Kid to sort of set up for that strong bottom lane, the strong mid lane.
Yeah, it's really about the mid lane for me because it is Rookie and Kid. We see Lee Sin and Syndra used all the time together. Their power spike at level 6 in particular is absolutely disgusting. So it's about picking that up and moving it in, contesting Bengi at that point. And Duke, back to the tried and true.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, sink deeper into the ocean.
I can see that you were
Nautilus
fishing
actually
for it.
Climbed out, yeah.
But
you don't go fishing with an anchor. You drop anchor to go. All right, whatever. Shen now is the follow-up from Vici Gaming to answer, as Long will have to go back against the previous world champion and show us that he can find success on more than one of these picks.
I kind of like that Vici are doubling down and that they're playing towards the bottom side of the map. So it's not Caitlyn this time around, but Ashe just as good for Endless. And they now kind of double down with the Shen. So they're making a big statement here, you know, bottom keeps winning, bottom keeps kind of overpowering Marge and Megan, we're going to give them even more power. Long's not going to eat up resources, you know, requiring ganks because he's the Kled, because he's the Rumble. Instead, we're just going to race you, and if you come down, you come down. If you don't, your tower's ours.
Yeah. So I guess this begs the question that we asked a little bit earlier. In game number 2, responsibility for these teams fell to Kid and Endless. Not exactly the superstars of the team. Is this the same thing that we're seeing from this composition?
No, I disagree just because Easyhoon got his Vladimir pickup.
Yeah.
It's going to be a champion that's kind of slow to burn. You know, he's very dependent on his levels. He needs those points into his abilities to lower the cooldowns before he can really become a terror.
Level 9 transfusion.
Exactly. Whereas Syndra on Rookie, we've seen the incredible things that this guy has done on the champion. We know that that level 6 is going to be a big power point that they're going to try to move around the map. And for me, this is actually kind of a race. You know, mid lane and jungle will get that power point before the bottom lane does, you know, unless something really wacky happens where just free XP is given into the Ashe. So there's technically kind of this window where IG can strike first, where they can say, Syndra and Lee Sin are ready to go, your Ashe Shin is still kind of ramping up. So can IG exploit that, or will they just kind of sit back passively and get run over by the telegraph play bottom that's going to happen?
We'll see if Easyhoon and the rest of Vici will be able to pull off the execution and take Game 3, their first match win after their first game win in 3 weeks. The last time they won a game was in Week 3 against WE. The last time they won a match was just 2 days prior to that in Week 3 when they 2-0'd Game Talents.
My favorite thing about this image, though, is Endless.
Endless, yeah.
He's just looking straight down the barrel of the camera.
We're like, whatever you do, don't look at the camera. What?
School picture day with Vici Gaming.
He's in the zone. Question is it the zone to victory or something else entirely? As we have a completely different angle of the rift. Zooming around, it's game number 3 between Invictus Gaming and Vici.
Oh.
Built over Peacemaker trades with Volley as Megan and Hatong trade with each other as well.
We're already setting a very clear tempo and pace for this early game. They mean business.
Yeah.
The pushing power of both these lanes. You have the Caitlyn to compensate for kind of Nami's lack of pushing power. That said, also the fact that Caitlyn can outrange pretty much anyone, and if you put the Tide Caller's Blessing on her and she gets a headshot, that trade pattern is disgusting.
Very strong, yeah.
So Endless and Hatong here are looking to control the wave. Once they get that, they can start looking for these pot shots with the volley and the empowered Karma Q, whereas Megan and Marge are like, let's get into this wave first. Let's make sure that they can't get control of the minion wave, and let's start abusing this Caitlyn range.
So far, they seem to be the ones who are planning ahead just a touch. Easyhoon waiting nice and far back to look for a delayed entrance into lane. Let's see if Rookie decides. Oh, he actually decides to start W, which Easyhoon did not do in the previous one.
And this is what's more common from Syndra's. It technically does more damage from the Q. You just get fewer off in a course of 12 seconds. So again, a Q start from a Syndra pretty much just means that she's just going to auto-push the wave in just because she can spam it so much more. When you start W, it typically indicates that maybe an early gank is coming through, or you're looking to trade health versus trade pushing priority.
And that's something that's a little bit dangerous against the likes of Vladimir, as he does have transfusion at level 1, which, though it takes a while to get that blood rush, once it starts ticking, he's pretty scary if he can manage to transfuse a champion. But Rookie with the quick level 2 shoves the wave in as expected. Easyhoon going to opt for the minion sustain instead.
And here at the LPL, we like to kind of hang out in chat when we're off-casting games, and I see this all the time in the chat. Why is Vladimir black? Why does he not have blood?
Oh, red animation particles.
Exactly. In China, certain cultural differences, like Karthus, you can't have a skull, so Karthus actually has a different
face
portrait in League of Legends. Likewise, blood being displayed. So Vladimir or any champion that has sort of blood particles are turned black. So we got the Blad.
Darius as well. The Blad Vlad. And Darius is still Darius.
I think it looks cool, though.
It does, yeah. Especially on some of his more unique skins. There goes a quick bubble. Headshot onto Endless, trying to harass. You mentioned the early damage that both of these lanes can end up trading with each other. Hatong cheats forward, trying to get around the minions.
But I like the fact that Marge and Megan were finally put in a position of power like this because they committed to the early level 1 coming in. Ash and Karma were bullied out of the lane. As soon as the wave came in, Marge is like, I'm done with this BS.
Yeah.
Immediately cues the wave and starts pushing it forward. It now has opened up space for Kid to start kind of creeping in and trying to find Bengi. He knows that he's not bottom side due to the orb, which should tell Duke to start backing up.
Yeah.
But he's still overextended.
Very far forward. He does have got a ward in River, but by the time that Bengi's spotted, he could well catch up. There's a shadow dash. There's no chance for Duke to escape now. He actually might just go the long way around and throw us all for a loop. Hook pulls him to the wall. Bengi has got repel, but Duke just very cleverly takes the long way around.
Why are you a god? Just is so frustrating. I mean, it's amazing to watch.
Easyhoon just ghosted top in case that there was actually a fight.
Just like casual.
Usually just actually just use Ghost.
Again though, like that's so important. That's the only play that Vici had on the map because Kid hits the orb. He sees that Elise isn't in the bottom side of the jungle. You know she's in top side. It looks like a massive error that Duke's still overextended, but he just like casually walks out of that gank. Doesn't expend a summoner spell, just whatever.
I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
And I'm all... No, he's still got gum.
He isn't out of... Yeah, he's out of gum. But continues shoving in the bottom lane now. Marge and Megan finally getting revenge for the first 2 matches here. Even Kid playing towards this bottom side, as you mentioned, as they trade some skill shots. One of them does damage and one of them does not.
It's just the nice thing about Caitlyn. You just get to sit there and you're like, ha ha ha.
Yes.
Shoes on the other foot now.
The hat's on the other head. Sheriff hat?
Is that actually a saying?
No, it's not.
Mine's actually a saying.
It's an extension.
I see.
A bird in the hand is worth a headshot to Endless.
I've never heard that one either.
It's not actually a saying.
What?
I'm expanding the sayings to the context of the game, Frostgirin.
You just can't make up pop culture, dog.
I'm not making up pop culture. I'm making references to keep us involved in the match.
I see.
We're moving beyond.
Well done.
Well, apparently not if you're not following.
Oh.
Duke and Long now will trade it out in the top. As expected, catching CS over and over while Easyhoon and Rookie continue trading with each other in the mid lane. Still seeing a pretty big advantage for Rookie as Duke, you know, just a god.
That's brutal. He didn't even win the trade. So Long trying to taunt him. Obviously, he wanted best case scenario to taunt him under tower aggro, but he even had an incoming wave, so eating all of that incoming minion aggro. But between Titan's Wrath and Riptide, just not winning eating trades right now.
Using that teleport really early to prioritize that lane. He's going to go for his second recall now. Not quite enough to finish off Ninja Tabbies if you were to look for them, but Bengi now showing himself bottom. Long did teleport top and is level 6. So Stand United is an option, and Duke doesn't have teleport. As a result, you can see Invictus Gaming playing very far back.
Yeah, Megan's by himself, though. Excuse me, Marge.
I mean, Megan's also by himself in base.
They've got actually a big wave building up. They could dive this. Long is level 6.
Oh, Bengi now shows himself. They see that's there. Stand United onto Bengi. He tanks the first hits, and they assassinate Marge completely.
So there's that telegraph play bottom, but it isn't on Endless's power spike. It's on Long's power spike. So really abusing the fact that they also have Elise, who is a phenomenal champion in diving. Again, her ability to reset that tower aggro.
Oh, Rookie doesn't have enough mana for ult. He almost was able to get the kill onto Easyhoon as they now turn onto Megan. Another clean kill for Vici Gaming.
Just absolute disaster right there. And this is why it's really punishing to use an early teleport like that against Shin, because you're pretty much saying, we will not match you bottom lane, and if your bottom lane's not paying attention, you will be run over.
Easyhoon, playing with that Tides of Blood, knows that he can drop down into pool if Rookie decides to go aggressive, so just tries to force him out of lane a little bit while he catches this minion wave up. Duke is shoving top to try to answer in response, but it's in fact the first turret going over to Vici. They're swapping Endless into Tong.
And frankly, so many things went wrong for IG, and it's little things. And I hate to harp on this, but it's back timings. Kid isn't in position because he's not top lane to help try to trade objective for objective. You know, the Lee Sin isn't like, okay, well, if they're committing bottom lane, we can at least trade something top lane for here. Megan took a poor back trying to get the sight stone so he could get some vision out before Shin ticked over level 6. Just multiple things breaking down that led over to this 2-kill lead.
We were just complimenting Megan on his performance in game number 1 and 2. Perhaps a bit of a deterioration here.
Well, he still pressed his buttons well. He just made poor choices doing it.
Which is very important in League of Legends. Like we said, it's about teamwork, communication,
pressing your buttons.
And mechanical skill. By all their powers combined, you have a technically good team.
You know what always grinds my gears? It's when people, and we do this all the time, we're like, this guy's just a really great mechanical player. When theoretically, as a professional player, that should be like the baseline.
The fact that it's not, though, creates the conversation, because you have players that are like, he should be great, he's a professional, and then you see him on stage getting smashed by everyone. It's comparative to your peers.
Yep. Uh-oh. There is the arrow. Dun-dun. They've both got flash.
Yeah, they're thinking about it.
Dun-dun.
Margin Megan, they want these minions. Tilt over Peacemaker. Now he finally sees it. Just waiting out the cooldown.
There we go.
Funny thing was, if he actually tossed the Pillsmaker, if Endless saw that that was what he would use to scout, he could catch him in the animation by tossing the arrow out.
You are correct, because
You're
he'll be
animation
frozen.
locked in Piltover Peacemaker.
Piltover Peacemaker.
Piltover Peace Lakers.
I'll never hear it the same way again. But they've now matched their duo lane towards the top side. So again, Vici trying to play that slow, paper cut style. They've taken one tower. They've now picked up their Ashe, moving over towards the top side of the map, looking for another one. They've got the attack speed set up. So looking to clear out creep waves.
Bangi now running mid and running out. Kid's actually hot on his heels, so we'll spot him.
But he's run over like 16 wards just trying to get here.
Yeah, I know. Not even going to clear out that control ward as Rookie catches him with a stun. That's Stand United. He pops up and then immediately turns right back onto Rookie. Cleanse is going to try to slow some of this out as Easy Hoon Tides of Blood's his way to safety, and Stand United is in fact canceled in the bottom lane. Duke used his ultimate to stop that Stand United. But I'm not entirely certain he wants this. If he's misses the hook onto the wall, he does have flash, but there's no turret for him to run to. Long is going to eat a lot of damage from these minions with only a Doran's shield. Flash to get away from the Shadow Dash.
Look at Duke's face. He's my favorite player to watch. As he like misses the hook. There's no emotion. It's not like, oh,
I mean,
man.
that looks like a kind of sad face as he's pinned against the wall. Alrighty. He was like, I could have gotten out of this without using flash. Oh well. Tong eats an ace in the hole.
Here
Not
comes
a lot of
Kid.
damage out of this bottom lane. Kid races forward, but eats an arrow to the face. Sonic Wave followed up, flash kick, and it's endless. He's going to flash over the wall to safety, so bit of a mistake in that target priority. Cocoon catches Marge, late teleport from Long. Duke tries to answer with one of his own, fully topped up in base, and he turns onto Kid, left by his team, drops to Long.
And Kid looks for the insect, Lee Syndrome. He hit the Q, he's got a flash onto it. But what are you kicking him into? Nami has just used both of her spells for any sort of CC.
Yeah.
So Ashe is like, well, I guess I'll
flash.
calmly walk out of this.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I guess. And now, 11 minutes in, Vici Gaming are 1,700 gold ahead. They're up in kills. They're up in turrets. They've got neutral advantage momentum. Long is, I hesitate to say this, out-pressuring Duke.
I mean, Long did a good job on Kled last game as well. Like, Duke has always been known as kind of the 1v1 top laner when he was back in Korea. That really hasn't changed, but he's not fighting a 1v1 right now. Like, Long doesn't want anything to do with that lane. You look at Duke, he's 117 to 99. Long's like, see ya, mate. I'm going towards the bottom side.
I'll see you at a turn.
Uh-oh.
Rookie, oh man, so good. Sidesteps the Cocoon and stuns Bangi while he's at it. So despite the attempted pressure from Vici Gaming, it's still denied. And Invictus Gaming, they're down. How do they take control of this game? How do they take control of their destiny?
What's interesting is if you actually just look at the scoreboard, you can very clearly see the tail here. The fact that Rookie and Duke are both 0, 0, and 0 tells you exactly how IG ended up in this hole. And we're continuing to dig down.
Yes. Like Minecraft, never dig straight down without a bucket of water.
Can you pour the bucket of water while you're mid-fall to hit the lava?
No. When you empty the bucket, it creates a square that is a source block of water. The idea is you want to stick it on the lava block and then hop onto it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, as you're falling, so you don't just insta-die into
If
fire.
you do it while you're falling, the block of endless water appears in midair, and then it takes a few seconds to drop into the lava, so you fall in before the water.
That's amazing.
Yes, I know the animation timings of
course you do.
Minecraft. Listen, it was a dark time in high school.
I'm not surprised, Dom.
I think everybody has at least some time
Nope.
spent in that game. Not at all?
Hold on. Go for it, kid.
Yeah, kid, he's digging himself a hole right now if he tries to go. Again, it's
the
the
arrow.
dynamic trio, and he catches him in the animation, exactly as we called out earlier. Hemoplague stalls it out, Easy Hoon follows under. It's not enough to kill Marge, but he's pushed back from the turret, acing the hole onto Hatong, but Endless gets a few bit of hits onto the turret.
And like you said, it's kind of that trio of Kid, Marge, and Megan that are really being punished right now. And the fact that Easy Hoon did his job this time around. He neutralized Rookie. Rookie's been held down in this lane. He doesn't have any kill pressure on the Vladimir just because troll pull, like, gonna press W anytime you look for the burst damage.
Tides of blood.
And now, because IG have the Caitlyn, they're waiting for that big late-game power spike. Rookie is technically very strong right now on the Syndra, especially because of her passive, but they missed their big early-game window where, you've got the Lee Sin, you have the Syndra, they went in for the play, and Long canceled it out.
So now they have to wait for the next train to come into the station, that big second window of strength. They're still down about 700 gold, so not quite as much as they used to be, though.
And hold on a second, because Endless is playing Blade of the Rune King Ashe.
He is.
So I really like this build path. We've seen it a bit in the LCK, but what's cool about Ashe right now is just how versatile all her build paths are. She can go the Essence Reaver, so she can be that arrow bot, which I would actually expect Endless to be, or she can go the Blade of the Rune King, which has had a lot of its power move towards kind of its flat AD as well as its lifesteal, because she already itemizes so much attack speed that she kind of gets the best of both worlds. So I'm a big fan of where Ashe is at right now. I do really like this build, but now Endless needs to make sure that he's actually killing people with his auto attack build.
If I remember correctly, you actually had a Smurf at one point that was titled Dat Ashe.
I've had a Smurf called Dat Ashe and Ashe Hole.
Yes. Again. So maybe showing a little bit, whoa, Easy Hoon, again, just drops into the pool and walks out. Showing a bit of your affection towards the champion. You're very familiar with that bottom lane. We'll see if Endless can demonstrate that proficiency in this matchup, as now it's Invictus Gaming who are looking for an opportunistic pick onto Easy Hoon. Didn't quite find it, though.
Duke's like, assist ping? Hello?
Just one assist ping and then walks off.
It's going to be a tower trade,
Yeah.
which I actually like this from IG right now, unless Easy Hoon can get in position and deny a lot of it.
Yeah, so there are 4 people top for Vici Gaming. They had a lot of momentum. I was about to say they could try to push the tier 2 because it's only Nautilus to defend it, but they are heading towards mid to try getting a pick on Rookie.
But again, if Easy Hoon can hold this, look at the tower for free. Unfortunately, Kid is swung around.
And that's a lot of skill shots that just missed. So maybe he can, in fact, as he races forward, uses the Hemoplague, clears out the minion wave. That's Stand United. Marge will be able to finally clear out that turret as Long joins the fight, and Duke will get a late teleport started and canceled.
Indecision across the board. Are we hitting the tower? Are we hitting the champion? Are we looking for the dive? Am I teleporting in? So many questions. So few answers. In the end, it's tower for tower trade.
But now Vici Gaming, with the minion wave that they cleared out mid, have momentum in the mid lane. They push forward onto Rookie. He dodges the cocoon and cleanses the arrow. Finds a stun onto Endless, but can't follow up. With that power unleashed, Sonic Wave is going to miss as well. It's skill shots all across the board from Invictus Gaming. As the force engage is not enough. Perfect exhaust from Hatong denies Rookie's damage. Another Sonic Wave catches the minion, and now Long is teleporting in.
And this is why it's so critical that you have to give the engage responsibility to Duke. Kid has shown that he cannot handle it. He's missing these key skill shots. He's doing the insec at the incorrect time because his team doesn't have the CC to follow it. He misses it, and Rookie's like, I guess I got a flash.
Yeah.
And now Syndra doesn't have her flash for the incoming fight.
And the fact that Vici Gaming were even prepared for that, the moment the teleport completed for Long, he headed straight top to intercept Duke and say, there's no way you're collapsing on my vulnerable team in the mid lane. So Vici Gaming, very conscious of Invictus Gaming's strategy and are effectively using it against them.
There's such a great kind of behind-the-scenes tug-of-war happening right now between Long and Duke. I know Long hasn't received any of the MVPs this game, but for how well both these top laners are playing, like Duke undoubtedly is playing the 1v1s and the 5v5s better than Long, but Long is doing a phenomenal job kind of containing Duke and just hurting him in different directions to make sure that he can't impact the rest of his team. He is the unsung hero right now.
I feel like Long is the Mr. Pickle of the Rugrats, just keeping Tommy locked in. No creative screwdrivers or escape plots from this toddler.
I never know what direction we're going. Like, Mr. Pickle, and just quickly in the database, pickles. I'm thinking sandwiches, and you're like, Rugrats. Okay.
But he is penned in rather effectively. There's no escape. You can't escape from Long.
You make me want to nap sometimes.
Alrighty, Ocean Drake is up in 10 seconds. Long is still keeping Duke occupied. Rookie tries to cheat top, and Long immediately starts pulling back the moment Rookie is out of vision. Vici, I don't know what it is. They seem to have found their mojo.
If we just sit and farm waves, Invictus Gaming will make a mistake and will capitalize slowly. They're like a snowball. Okay, we're changing it. They are no longer death by 1,000 paper cuts. They are a slow-moving snowball uphill. But eventually it just gets... No? Stay with me. So they're rolling the snowball uphill, and eventually it just gets so big that it just rolls back over on top of you, crushes you, and then they win. Yep.
Okay.
Because they rely on the... It makes sense. They rely on the other team to make mistakes. So the other team are the one that are rolling the snowball up the hill.
So why not Vici Gaming are a weak blizzard? It's cold, but not cold enough to kill you unless you just sit there.
They kill you
for like an hour.
Via exposure.
They just kind of... They exist and they are doing things kind of technically, but it's up to the other team to stand there in the freezing snow. Or, I guess, slightly cold snow in this case.
No, we'll go freezing.
Okay.
But hold on, dive being set up. So again, Endless keeps doing this. He keeps cutting down to where they've got great control wards, and he's just going to throw the arrow from Fog of War. He's done it 3 times now. It hasn't broken the mid lane tower, but I hear third time's the charm. Throw it.
I mean, now they know he's there. And everyone has Flash except for Rookie, but he's got Cleanse. And Duke is now standing in front of Rookie. Grouped as 5, Invictus Gaming already in that mid lane. Long is up top with Stan United. There's a small window, and they force it. Duke is caught by the arrow. That's going to be Hemo playing onto Marge in the back. Duke is now being burned down. There's no chance for IG to respond as EasyHoon drops into the Sanguine pool, and the execution, he gets kicked back in, but that's almost going to be Kid forcing his life board. A double kill for Endless as he's firing these shots across. Rookie already used the power unleashed. Flash forward from Endless, catches Rookie as the cocoon misses, and supported by his team, Endless is finding huge success here. Megan goes down in front of the Baron, and Vici Gaming win the fight.
They win the 5v5. That's what's exciting here. And it was the difference in the AD carries. Ash could actually do something. The front line immediately dropped from IG, whereas Long ran crazy in the back line. Overwhelmed them, get the Baron. This is Vici looking hot.
Yeah, that's Baron now being taken by Vici Gaming. They've got it on all 5 members. EasyHoon respawned in time as well. And 21 minutes in, they are in the driver's seat.
And just look at the confidence here. EasyHoon runs forward. He's got the shin. He says, I will be the delivery service. But it's Blade of the Ruined King Ash. They catch out Nautilus. He isn't actually a viable target. Where as soon as Long is setting the front line, Marge cannot do anything. It's entirely reliant on Rookie to do the damage in this sense. And if he doesn't have the front line, he doesn't have the time to stall out to get multiple rotations of those cooldowns to output the damage. They just don't have the sustained DPS right now.
Hard to believe, but Vici Gaming are identifying their points of power and are playing around them. You mentioned the fact that it has to be auto-attack based Ash. Vici Gaming, well aware of this, are playing around it.
The cool thing is that Vici, in the middle of their series, recognized what was working for them, and it was the bottom lane. And the fact that, again, they doubled down, they took the Shen, and instead of playing top side of the map, they're like, Endless and Hatong obviously just found the weak point for Marge and Megan. Let's continue to exploit this, and it's working for them. Whereas IG just continue to run headfirst into that wall.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Endless
Get him,
eats
Kid.
a Dark Sphere, arrow onto Kid. Tries to get forward, Tidal Wave is going to speed Kid up, but he's slowed down once again by the volley. Teleport from Duke out of base. Invictus Gaming try to force the play, but they leave their side lanes unprotected.
And that's the big thing. So much was expended on that. It had to work, because if it didn't, it would mean devastation. It's a very high-risk, high-reward type of play. If they get it, they can possibly turn around a lot of tempo, maybe convert it into a tower. But if they don't, they've lost control of their side waves, and they lose so much damage on inner structures.
Yeah, the mid-tier 1 finally goes down to the concentrated efforts of Endless and Hatong. EasyHoon and Bangi clear out the bottom tier 2, while Long continues to keep Duke occupied on the top side of the map. Again, IG are now collapsing bottom. They will try this high-risk, high-reward play, but they don't have teleport to do it. Bangi gets walked out as EasyHoon zones Rookie back with a quick Hemo Plague and tries to force the damage as Hatong and Endless collapse. And Invictus Gaming are forced back into their base.
But immediately the pings go down. Vici still have inside track towards the middle lane. You see that Hatong setting up Vision. He's very far forward with Bengi while Endless is sent to go pick up the wave. And meanwhile, Long's just continuing to be obnoxious and to hold down Duke.
Mr. Pickle has got a hell of a day job, but he still shows up in time to keep Tommy occupied. Endless brings the minion wave down that mid lane, and again, Duke shows up and collapses. He's got a hook that's blocked by Spiderlings. He's got depth charge if he can get in range, but he will not be allowed to. Long clears out the top tier 2 in the meanwhile. Endless now brings minions onto that mid tier 2. This is a huge play from Vici Gaming as they clear out all the remaining tier 1s and drop out all of the tier 2s with this Baron play.
That's a massive Baron play, and their composition is only going to continue to hyper scale into late game. Izuhoon's just getting started on this Vladimir.
Yeah.
And Endless is already doing a phenomenal job with that Ashe because he has kill pressure should Duke get caught out on the Nautilus. Like, disaster for IG.
Yeah, this is not looking great. 6,500 gold down, not quite as dire as it did in game number 1, but now they've got nowhere safe but the inhibitor line.
So now we talk win conditions. You know, how do IG feasibly turn around this game? It's still only 25 minutes, but the problem is because Vici are so far ahead of the clock with their gold advantage that, again, you have to look towards the Caitlyn. You can no longer just get her to that 3-item point. You have to get her to the 4-item point before she starts becoming that hyper carry late game where it's just absolutely absurd damage. And I don't know if IG have enough time. They need to get the second Baron to buy them enough time.
I think we have to extend it even further to a step of execution. If they're able to make it that far, is Marge capable of stepping up in this role for the team? They've so traditionally relied on Rookie and Duke, but Duke is being penned in by Long, and Rookie is barely at his 2.5-item power spike.
It's going to be a question. I thought that Marge has been a fairly competent AD carry considering his competition domestically. A lot of talent has left the position recently. You know, back to Korea, we lost Death.
Yeah.
That one's always going to hurt. But right now, it's a waiting game for IG. Vici can no longer really siege. They're going to continue to try to play like their side waves, pull Invictus Gaming around the map, but it should be rather calm and collected until next rotation of Baron, unless IG just really throw it to the wind.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've looked for the high-risk, high-reward play a few times already. We'll see if they decide to pull back, make a quick mid-game change-up to sit back and get a little defensive as we hit the 26-minute mark, and they're starting to fall further and further back towards this inhibitor line.
It's going to be really difficult for Vici to siege into them right now. You still have Hurricane on Caitlyn. You're still dealing with Caitlyn as well as Syndra, even Riptide there. So I think this would be auspicious if anything.
I love how Endless is actually building the Hex Drinker on Ashe because he knows he's huge in this fight with Blade of the North and Runehands.
Well, it's also the fact that now that Izuhoon has W as well as Zanya's Hourglass, Endless is really the only target that makes sense for the Syndra ultimate. I mean, I guess you could...
If you use Power Unleashed on Bengi or Hatong, that doesn't save your turrets.
Well, the thing is Hatong also has Locket, so he has a lot of MR as well as armor and the added shield. I mean, obviously it's an AoE shield, but...
Oh no, Rookie clearing out a minion wave. Whoa,
Here comes
flashes
Duke.
the Shadow Dash, but Duke teleports in. It's not enough, though. He gets into the fight too late. Izuhoon used Tides of Bloods a little bit early, so it's 1v3, and Invictus Gaming are respecting Vici way too much as they back up into the base. Izuhoon and Long are allowed to escape unscathed with that kill under their belt.
But check out where Bengi is. You can never leave Elise alone with these structures. She does have that steroid. She deceptively pulls them down quickly. Only gets a bit of chip damage there, but that was... I'm not going to call it a 4v5. It ultimately kind of turned into that.
Yeah. Skittering Frenzy, one of the most powerful attack steroids in the game. Allowing you to really break through these turrets, but with no sign of Rookie, Vici Gaming are forcing the fight onto this inhibitor. There's no depth charge from Duke, so there's no way for Invictus Gaming to get in here. And that means that Endless is allowed to free fire on this inhib. There's still no follow-up. It goes down, hook onto Long, but he is the tank, and there is no way you'll be able to kill him by the time the rest of Vici are prepared.
The desperation chase. They have to take them down now because they lost control over the the mid wave because the super creeps will come in, which means that Vici will get the inside track towards the Baron.
Yeah, now we're going to spawn in 3 seconds. Rookie is back up. Teleport is ready for long, so he can top himself off.
But this is why side wave management is so important. It wasn't necessarily the skittering frenzy that gave him the chip damage on the Baron that meant a lot from Bengi. It was the fact that he had the wave prepped and ready, so as soon as the pick went onto Rookie, they immediately translated it.
Arrow onto Duke, stuns him under Baron. The rest of Vici are grouped and ready to fight. Bengi was able to recall and top himself off. Minions are split pushing bottom, and Invictus Gaming find themselves falling apart. Rookie split from his team and forced to take the blast cone over.
They're just getting smothered. All they can do is really sit in their base, clear out creep waves, which gives Vici a free Baron.
Yeah, Sonic Wave used by Kid to get onto that wolf.
Oh, here we go. High risk, high reward.
Yeah. There are no mountain breaks this time, so this Baron going down a lot slower. Tidal Wave catches only Bangy. Duke in the front, but Kid is going to be assassinated by full tank Shen. Barely healed up enough by Megan, but now the rest of IG backs against the wall are trying to split around. Hook onto Easy Hoon, but he drops the Tides of Blood. Rookie is now engaged upon by Long, who is enormous. He gets the kill with Easy Hoon. Zanyas keeps himself alive, turning onto Megan to assassinate that support. While Super Minions are on the Nexus turrets, the rest of Vici are chasing Invictus down. 5 versus 2, and Vici Gaming are prepped and ready to win their first match since week 3.
And you can see Marge, he just doesn't do the damage that's needed. Oh, flash forward, why?
He's trying. Goodness help him, he's trying. But it is not enough, and effort can only get you so far. Vici Gaming take the Nexus turrets, they take the kills, and they take the series. Their first win in 4 weeks.
Props to Endless right there. The Caitlyn priority pick was taken away. He went to the Ashe. I'm not going to say he was the MVP, but he was definitely kind of the game changer that put him over the line.
Yeah.
If the classic line is, we are only as strong as our weakest link, that's what gave Vici the victory here. It's that their weakest link was stronger than IG's weakest link.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of weakest links, welcome back, Raz.
Hi.
Wow.
That hurt.
What a backhanded.
I was ready to come in high.
I had it, and I was like, yeah, Raz.
That arrow hit me hard. Goodbye, everybody.
You were caught mid-animation.
Goodbye. Peace.
Well, yes. Welcome back to the desk.
Okay, I'm back.
We can talk about weakest link casters another time, if you like. But Vici Gaming taking the win in the series.
And it was ridiculous. And you know, just to set the tone for this was 100% Vici taking down a much superior team in the standings and throughout the regular season. In fact, IG were second place simply because they didn't play as many games as the team in their own group. So they are now 5-5, I believe. Just taking a look. Yeah, 5-5. And they are now officially tied for 4th place in second place. And so
oh my gosh, yeah, it is.
This game, or at least now, this kind of just completely jumbled the brackets for a lot of people. The standings are now up in limbo once again, and it all is due to Vici coming out and looking really strong. And
up in limbo at week 7 is a place that no team wants to be.
They definitely don't want to get to week 8, the rundown when you're finally getting down to playoff contention. And so I'm like, you know what? Every game still matters.
Look at that cliff.
Yeah. It's, as we said, this game is an opportunity for Vici to finally take hold of their destiny. Their final really, I don't want to say easy set, but like best chance before they get back into intergroup, because they have to play against RNG later this week, who are still looking at the top of their game before going back into Group B.
And they are now 3-7. That is really relevant because looking towards Game Towns, who are right now in 4th place, in playoff position, are 3-6. So if Game Towns lose, they are tied up. That is the benefit of being on Group B, is that it doesn't matter how many games you lose. It matters who you're losing it with. Yeah. And apparently they have friends in Group B alongside Newbie and Game Town, so it's really close for a lot of these teams.
It puts even more emphasis on our next series coming up, Game Talents versus Snake, now that Vici have kind of thrown the gauntlet. Like, you know, we picked up our free points across from the board. Can you do the same? And it's very similar caliber of teams. You have 2 bottom-tier teams from Group B and Vici and Game Talents versus relatively 2 top-tier teams in Snake and IG from Group A.
Yeah, and it's really, really scary for teams now in Group B simply because Vici, they went through a lot of practice. And what was that practice for? Because in their previous weeks, they had those 1-game weeks that they only had to focus on the 1 sets. Now they're bulked up with a 2-game week with RNG and IG. And looking at this was going to be a devilish climb to be able to take any of these teams down. They did it here, and now they have an opportunity. This would be a great opportunity for them to take 2 sets, skyrocket into their own group, and having that time to really think about what was wrong with their play was apparently really valuable, because went down to game 3 and they won it based off of a team fight, which is I'm gonna show it right now. Like, throw it up, because the fact that Vici were able, because that's one of the major
to win a team fight.
Yeah, the major criticism is that early game, great. You know, that's fun that you have a great early game. You have a pat on the back for that one. But the fact that they were able to come in there, and this was all off of Easy Hoon going right in, the Ash Arrow nails down Nautilus. And so this is beautiful from Kid to be able to say, okay, I'm going to go in for this. But they don't have a tank. And so the fact that Endless, from this point forward, is just outputting so much damage onto just carries, and Lee Sin, who is a hybrid, they will all fall. And so what matters was the setup to this fight, and the setup was spot on.
His sidestep on the bubble as well, and then uses the flash aggressively to close distance to make sure he can chase down a couple more of those kills. Endless had a phenomenal game and proved that he's not just a Caitlyn one-trick, which we said in draft phase. Like, before Caitlyn was ever a thing for Endless, he was always an Ashe player.
Yeah, and he even built towards the Blade of the Rune King, Runan's Hurricane build, which in Ashe it's really interesting because people usually go towards Essence Reaver and crit so you can get as many cooldowns on your ulti. Doesn't matter how many cooldowns you get, apparently, if you can just hit that one crucial arrow.
Yeah. I think the fact that you could see that from the beginning, going for Fervor and then straight into Blade of the Ruined King. MVP, however, is going to go to the man in the top lane, Mr. Pickle himself. It is Long
Mr.
at 3-0-8.
I love you, man. And so this is it. I was just kind of eating popcorn in the back. Who's going to be the MVP? It's so hard to find out because technically Vici taking this win wasn't really on a sole member. It wasn't. You can't pin it on Easy Hoon. You can't pin it on Bengi. You can't really, because really it just kind of came down to a team fight, team coordination. That's what we were looking for. We weren't looking for individual members to come out ahead because we've seen enough of that. We've seen Bengi coming out with major leads and then falling as a team. Easy Hoon coming out with major leads, falling as a team. We need none of that. We just need a team. And so apparently they came today. Sure, it looks like Long's going to be coming up with the trophy on the MVP ladder, but you know, that's it. That's the team taking the trophy.
What's incredible to me is Vici have an identity now. It's kind of like Easy Hoon can neutralize any sort of mid laner. He was able to neutralize Rookie that time around. And now they have Long, who effectively neutralized Duke. And then their bottom lane is actually winning. In 3 games, their bottom lane won. And Vici were just like, the bottom lane's winning. Our solo lanes can neutralize any sort of power you have. Let's just throw everything in the kitchen sink down there.
That was definitely what it looked like this set. Whenever we look towards identity, it always comes down to consistency of it. And the consistency is that they were losing from this point forward. LGD, Snake, OMG. They beat a big, big player in IG. And if I'm not looking for them to beat RNG, that's asking too much. I'm looking for them to play that same style and see if they can actually make it hard for RNG, who just came off of a loss up against WE. So that's going to be fun. Suddenly, everything looks incredible, and we're so late into the season.
And we have to expand the conversation to Invictus game as well whenever you bring up consistency. You said it yourself, Frosk. Invictus Gaming are consistently inconsistent, and they showed it once again. Smashing performance in game number 1, slowly fell apart in game number 2, and then in game number 3, they looked almost defenseless.
Listen, Nigel Thornberry, we got to do something with the smashing because I'm tired of seeing my team get smashed. IG, they're just heartbreakers. They come out and they play some of the most beautiful League of Legends with like their siege composition, but if they do not have that, they like lose their minds. They have no idea when to pick fights. And it's not even just their ability to 5v5 or when to recognize when they're strong to 5v5. It's, again, their side wave management and their lackluster vision control. Objectively, they are not a very strong team. They constantly were losing control of side pushes, so that when Vici did win their occasional 5v5s, they were able to snowball so much off of it. And that, frankly, is very unacceptable for kind of a second-place team in Group A.
And this is what makes it very interesting, because you look towards Vici and they're 6th place. They look really bad right now, but technically they need the least amount of work to become a better team, because we're just looking for them to just pull the trigger and go in as a team. And the reason for that is a lot of cases they come into early games with massive leads because they are a smarter team. They find themselves in these massive advantages, not because of just going for gank, 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 and hopefully make these risks work out as we usually see from bottom tier teams. They're coming out with just intellectual play from Bengi and EasyHoon. And of course, now their bottom lane seems to be doing really well in lane because they're picking for those priority. So their draft's working out well. Their early games are working out well. And then they go into mid game and late game and just fall in terms of just how their team wants to ideologically just play out the late game. And so it's getting better for them. And so really this is hard for the rest of Group B because theoretically this is a 6th place team that could very well be middle of the pack, 3rd place.
Yeah, and this is something that's been a bit of the conversation for Vici for a while, that they've been sort of this Jekyll and Hyde between the smart, they've got the idea, but then they've also got that Chinese blood in them, and they will just randomly throw these wacky, wacky fights. They managed to hold off on the Mr. Hyde this time.
The thing about Vici is that if they don't play their great early game, they don't get enough gold to compensate for their lackluster 5v5. Like, we talk about, you know, Chinese blood, most people would assume all of that Chinese aggression, that 5v5 strength.
Yeah.
Vici actually are very kind of cold-blooded in that sense, where they can't really team fight very well unless they have these massive gold advantages, which is why early game is so important for them. Because if they don't come in even, they're already at a deficit 90% of the time because they miss their buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting better for them, so we'll have to see how they go up against RNG later on, day 4. That could be really fun to watch.
Yeah, our eyes are going to be on that set. We're going to go and take a quick break while we get ready for our final set of the evening. Snake versus Game Talents are up next. Don't go anywhere.